Hidden within the misty hills of Scotland are tales of defiance as fierce as the Highland clans that called this land home. Scottish separation and its quest for independence has been a powerful force, shaking the foundations of a united kingdom across centuries. But Scotland's struggle for sovereignty is not just a historical saga for freedom, it is a modern-day battle playing out in real time, and the implications are shaking the corridors of power in Westminster, challenging the very essence of British unity. From the economic risks to a political unravelling, the echoes of an ancient fight for separation are growing louder by the day. Once again, a looming battle between the lion and the unicorn has the power to reshape the destiny of an entire nation. Welcome to Living History. Scotland's border with England not only defines its place in the Union, but also its distance from it. It has been disputed and fought over throughout history, but has nevertheless remained an unconquerable marker of two vastly different countries. For Scotland, it represents more than the possibility of anti-unionist sentiment. This border is a battleground for Scotland versus England, as the politics of the southern nation dominate policies and power in the Union, with little acknowledgement and regard for the four completely distinct and different countries that are at its core. And Scotland has long been tired of it. Historically, for England, conquering Scotland was about more than territorial expansion. It would allow England to consolidate power and influence. So it was essential for the English monarchy to establish dominion over its northern neighbour, to maintain control and exert authority over the British Isles. On the other hand, independence was of profound importance for Scotland. For the Scots, it was not merely a matter of defying English governance, it was a fight for the preservation of identity, culture, and self-determination. Scotland saw, and increasingly sees, independence as essential to protect its unique way of life, politics, society, legal system, and its distinct values. And this battle is as old as time itself. Bear with me here, because this is important. In 1296, King Edward I of England defeated the Scottish forces at the Battle of Dunbar and subsequently imposed English rule on Scotland. But the Scots were not to be subdued. Instead, this led to a series of uprisings and campaigns for independence. Between the 13th and 14th centuries, countless battles and sieges took place between the two sides in the wars of Scottish independence. The Battle of Stirling Ridge in 1297 was a significant early victory for the Scots. Under the leadership of Sir William Wallace and Sir Andrew Murray, the Scottish forces defeated a much larger English army led by John de Warenne, the Earl of Surrey. The battle's outcome boosted Scottish morale and inspired further resistance against English rule. It actually still does till this day. But it was the Battle of Bannockburn in 1314 that stands as one of the most pivotal moments in the tumultuous history of Scotland versus England. Led by the formidable Robert the Bruce, the battle ended in a resounding victory for the Scots. The English King Edward II narrowly escaped capture, and his army retreated in ruins. Scotland's independence was not immediately secured, but this battle marked a turning point, establishing Robert the Bruce as a national hero and a symbol of Scotland's resistance. In the aftermath of Bannockburn, England was forced to recognise Scotland's de facto independence, although formal recognition would not come until the Treaty of Edinburgh-Northampton in 1328. This treaty recognised Scotland as an independent kingdom, with Robert the Bruce as its legitimate king. This, though, also set the stage for centuries of conflict that continue to echo till this day. And so, while battles may not be fought with spears and cavalry at the borders anymore, thankfully, perhaps for the English politicians, the aftermath of these historical conflicts and differences resonate in present-day Britain through politics. Just consider this. Scotland overwhelmingly voted to remain in the EU in 2016, but has been dragged out as part of the Union. While this may not quite be the same as fighting for territory, it is a fight for autonomy. The result of this vote inspired leading pro-independence figures to suggest a second independence referendum. The argument is that through independence, Scotland could regain the benefits of EU membership, including the ability to continue to travel freely, work, study, live, and do business across EU nations. But if Scotland were to gain independence and seek EU membership, existing treaties and trade agreements would need to be renegotiated. negotiated, further weakening Britain's already fragile diplomatic standing. In 2014, Scottish voters were given the choice of staying in the UK or becoming an independent country. They backed staying in the UK by 55% to 45%, but of course, this was pre-Brexit. Then First Minister Nicola Sturgeon pushed for a second referendum vote to take place on the 19th of October 2023. However, the UK Supreme Court ruled that laws that created the Scottish Parliament in 1999 meant it did not have the power to legislate on areas of the Constitution, including the union between Scotland and England. And so the court rejected the Scottish government's argument that any referendum would be advisory and would have no legal effect. However, the Supreme Court primarily deals with legal matters, including constitutional issues within the context of the United Kingdom as a whole. Scottish independence, though, is considered a separate and highly political matter. Many in Scotland criticise the ruling as favouring Westminster politics, which are overwhelmingly unionist. Scotland is represented by just 59 MPs in Parliament, compared with almost 10 times that representing England. And Scotland's current First Minister, Humza Yousaf, took the reins from the outgoing Sturgeon, saying he wants to build sustained support for independence. In fact, he told the BBC that would mean 50% plus one backing for yes, adding that we would hold a referendum tomorrow. But when it comes to Scotland in particular, why should England be worried? Scotland's independence movement poses a range of challenges and threats to the unity of the United Kingdom. Britain is increasingly reliant on Scotland, not only for its vast natural resources, but also for its strategic position. An independent Scotland could disrupt this delicate balance, impacting the UK's stability and its global influence. You see, Scotland is home to key military bases and defence assets, including nuclear weapons and critical submarine bases such as HM Naval Base Clyde. The UK's defence strategy and national security would doubtless be affected if Scotland were to break away, requiring adjustments to defence infrastructure and strategy. And with a UK Army chief suggesting the need for a conscripted citizen army in preparation for a war with Russia, a divided UK could be even more vulnerable. Scotland is also a significant contributor to the UK economy, responsible for nearly 9% of GDP through industries such as financial services, manufacturing, and tourism. There is, however, more to this. Scotland is also a major producer of renewable energy, particularly wind and tidal power, as well as nuclear energy, contributing £13.2 billion to Scotland's GDP in 2021. Needless to say, the UK as a whole also benefits from Scotland's contributions to its production and clean energy targets. And then, of course, there's the liquid gold of North Sea oil. Rishi Sunak has been pushing ahead with plans to expand oil and gas exploration in recent months. But this has been long in the making. In 2019, English pro-Tory newspapers ran stories on how North Sea oil could be the Union's saving grace in the post-Brexit economy and energy calamity. Disputes over territorial claims to North Sea oil would be hard-won should Scotland separate from the Union. For the Scots, resource reliance is nothing new. Take the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century. Scotland was home to extensive coal reserves, particularly in regions like Lanarkshire, Ayrshire, and Fife. Scottish coal was also known for its high quality and was in great demand as an energy source for steam engines, factories, and locomotives. Not only this, but Scotland was rich in iron ore, a fundamental component in constructing machinery, railways, and infrastructure. Scotland's contribution to England's industrialization wasn't limited to resources alone. Skilled engineers and inventors played a crucial role in the development of new machinery and technology. Pivotal Scottish innovators like James Watt perfected the steam engine, and Henry Bell built the first commercially successful steamship. Scotland's coal, iron, and skilled workforce were essential for England's industrial growth during this period. But let's come back to the present. As Scotland's struggle for freedom continues, other nations in the Union are also experiencing a surge in inspiration for independence. There has also been a rise in nationalist communities in Northern Ireland supporting Irish reunification, and movements in Wales advocating for Welsh independence from the Union too. It seems Scotland is leading the way for nationalism and separation, and the country that stands to suffer the most from a collapsing union is ironically the one with the largest political political influence in the Union itself. England. Without the support of the Union, an already feeble Britain withers on the world stage to an even more vulnerable, isolated England. And yet Scotland argues that interdependence is not mutually beneficial at all, working only to serve the demands of a political institution that does not have its understanding and interests at heart. Perhaps for Scotland, once again, enough is enough. To find out more about how Britain is broken, check our video linked here. See you there.